The night sky over Shandong province erupted in a spectacular display of light and sound on September 12, 2025, forever changing how residents of Weifang and surrounding areas would view the heavens above. What began as an ordinary Thursday evening quickly transformed into what many witnesses described as something out of a science fiction film, as two luminous objects collided in a brilliant explosion that shook windows and rattled nerves across the coastal region. At approximately 9 p.m. local time, residents first noticed an unusual bright object moving across the night sky with unprecedented speed and precision. The object's trajectory formed a distinct parabolic arc, significantly exceeding the velocity of any conventional aircraft known to civilian observers. Its luminous glow cast an otherworldly light across the rural landscape, illuminating fields and distant tree lines with an ethereal radiance that seemed to defy natural explanation. Zhang Wei, a farmer from the outskirts of Weifang, was among the first to spot the anomalous craft. "I was checking on my livestock when this brilliant light caught my attention," he recalled in later interviews with local media. "It wasn't like anything I'd ever seen before. Not a plane, not a helicopter, definitely not a satellite. This thing moved with purpose, like it knew exactly where it was going." His description matched dozens of other eyewitness accounts that would flood social media platforms within hours of the incident. The object's appearance was striking in its alien geometry. Witnesses described a spherical craft with a metallic, reflective surface that seemed to catch and amplify ambient light from the moon and stars above. What made the sighting particularly extraordinary were the numerous small spike-like protrusions extending from the object's surface, giving it an appearance unlike any known human aircraft or natural phenomenon. The spikes appeared to be evenly distributed across the sphere's surface, creating a distinctive pattern that would later become the subject of intense online speculation and analysis. As the mysterious craft continued its journey across the provincial sky, a second light source suddenly appeared from a different direction, moving with equal speed but on an intercept course. This second object exhibited characteristics consistent with military interceptor technology, a bright, focused beam of light that left a distinctive contrail as it streaked through the atmosphere. The precision and timing of this second object's appearance suggested coordinated military action rather than coincidental atmospheric phenomenon. 1. The collision between the two objects occurred at an altitude estimated between 5,000 and 10,000 feet, creating a massive flash that momentarily turned night into day across a radius of several kilometers. The explosion was so intense that it was visible from multiple cities throughout Shandong province, with reports flooding in from Rizhal, Qingdao, and even parts of neighboring provinces. The light was described by witnesses as brighter than lightning and like a miniature sun exploding in the sky. 5. The sonic impact of the interception was equally dramatic. Residents reported hearing two distinct loud bangs that resembled artillery fire or thunder, but with a sharper, more metallic quality that distinguished them from natural atmospheric disturbances. The sound waves were powerful enough to rattle windows throughout the region, cause brief tremors in the ground, and even trigger car alarms in some urban areas. Several witnesses reported feeling a subtle pressure wave pass over them moments after the visual explosion, suggesting the tremendous energy released during the collision. 7.1. Following the initial explosion, burning debris began falling toward the Earth in glowing fragments that created streaking trails of light across the dark sky. These fragments appeared to be pieces of the destroyed craft, their alien composition evident in the unusual colors and persistence of their luminous glow as they descended. Some witnesses reported that the debris seemed to maintain its luminescence even after impact, creating small points of light scattered across the rural landscape that persisted for several minutes before finally extinguishing. The immediate aftermath of the incident was marked by confusion and official silence that only deepened the mystery surrounding what had occurred. When contacted by local media on September 13th, the Weifang Emergency Management Bureau stated they had received no official reports of any crash, interception, or unusual aerial activity. This denial came despite the fact that dozens of videos and photographs of the event were already circulating widely on Chinese social media platforms, garnering millions of views and generating intense public debate. 1. The lack of official acknowledgement became a source of significant frustration for witnesses who had clearly observed the dramatic aerial encounter. Many began to question why authorities would deny an event that had been witnessed by thousands and documented extensively on video. This official silence only fueled speculation that something extraordinary had indeed occurred, something that government officials preferred to keep from public scrutiny. Military analysts who reviewed the available footage suggested that the incident bore all the hallmarks of a successful intercept mission conducted by China's advanced air defense systems. The precision timing, the trajectory of the interceptor missile, and the complete destruction of the target object demonstrated a level of technological capability that exceeded previous public displays of Chinese military prowess. If confirmed as a defensive action, the Shandong incident would represent a significant advancement in China's ability to neutralize aerial threats with pinpoint accuracy. 7. However, the nature of the target object remained the central mystery. While military experts proposed that the destroyed craft might have been a sophisticated drone, experimental aircraft, or simulated missile target used in defense testing, the object's apparent ability to maintain stable flight despite its unconventional geometry suggested advanced propulsion and control systems that exceeded current publicly acknowledged technology. The incident's timing also raised questions about potential connections to broader geopolitical tensions in the region. The interception occurred during a period of heightened military activity, with the Maritime Safety Administration of China having issued navigational warnings for live-fire exercises in the nearby Bohai Sea from September 11 through 14. This proximity in both time and location suggested possible connections between the Shandong incident and ongoing military operations, though no official confirmation of such links has been provided. 2. Social media reaction to the event was swift and intense, with hashtags related to the incident trending across multiple platforms within hours of occurrence. The video footage, captured from multiple angles by different witnesses, provided unprecedented documentation of what appeared to be a successful intercept mission against an unidentified target. Commentary ranged from celebration of China's defensive capabilities to speculation about the extraterrestrial origins of the destroyed object. International observers also took note of the event, with foreign media outlets analyzing the implications of China's demonstrated intercept capabilities. The precision and effectiveness of the action suggested that Chinese air defense systems had achieved a new level of sophistication, capable of engaging and neutralizing fast-moving aerial targets with remarkable accuracy. This development has significant implications for regional security dynamics and the global balance of military power. Three months before the dramatic interception over Shandong province captured global attention, another extraordinary UFO encounter was quietly unfolding in the digital realm, setting the stage for what would become one of the most compelling photographic evidence cases in recent history. The emergence of a crystal-clear photograph showing a metallic spherical craft adorned with distinctive spikes represented a quantum leap in UFO documentation quality, challenging decades of criticism about the lack of high-resolution evidence for unidentified aerial phenomena. The photograph first surfaced on a popular Chinese website in June 2025, uploaded by an anonymous user who claimed to have captured the image during a routine countryside excursion near the border of Shandong and Jiangsu provinces. Unlike the countless blurry, indistinct UFO photographs that have circulated for decades, this image stood out immediately for its exceptional clarity, detail, and the unprecedented view it provided of what appeared to be advanced non-human technology hovering in Earth's atmosphere. The craft depicted in the photograph was unlike anything in the catalog of known aircraft, experimental vehicles, or natural phenomena. The central body consisted of a perfect sphere with a highly reflective, metallic surface that caught and amplified sunlight with mirror-like precision. The sphere's surface appeared to be composed of a material with properties unlike any terrestrial metals, displaying both the reflective qualities of polished steel and the subtle luminescence characteristic of advanced composite materials. What made the craft truly extraordinary were the numerous spike-like protrusions extending from its surface in a symmetrical pattern. These spikes appeared to be integral components of the craft's design rather than decorative elements, suggesting they served specific functional purposes related to propulsion, navigation, or perhaps energy collection. Each spike was precisely machined with geometric perfection, tapering to sharp points that seemed to generate their own subtle electromagnetic field effects, visible as slight distortions in the surrounding air. The spacing and arrangement of the spikes followed a complex mathematical pattern that aerospace engineers who later analyzed the image described as impossibly sophisticated. The precision of their placement suggested computational design capabilities that exceeded current human engineering standards, with each spike positioned to optimize some unknown aerodynamic or electromagnetic function. The overall effect created a craft that was both beautiful in its geometric perfection and alien in its fundamental departure from conventional aircraft design principles. Dr. Sarah Chen, an aerospace engineering professor at Beijing University, who was among the first experts to examine the photograph, noted several aspects of the craft's design that defied conventional understanding. The spike configuration creates what should be massive aerodynamic instability, she explained in her initial analysis. Yet the craft appears to be maintaining perfect hovering stability, suggesting a propulsion system that operates on principles we don't currently understand. The electromagnetic signatures visible around each spike indicate energy interactions that our current physics models cannot fully explain. The photograph's technical quality added significantly to its credibility as potential evidence. Analysis of the image metadata revealed it was captured using a high-end digital camera with settings consistent with daytime outdoor photography. The lighting, shadows, and atmospheric perspective all appeared consistent with authentic outdoor conditions, with no evidence of digital manipulation or composite imaging techniques that might indicate a hoax. Photography experts who examined the image noted the realistic interaction between the craft and its environment. The way sunlight reflected off the metallic surface, the subtle shadows cast by the spikes, and the atmospheric haze effects all demonstrated the complex light interactions that would be expected from a real three-dimensional object photographed in natural conditions. These details would be extremely difficult to fake convincingly using available image manipulation software. The location where the photograph was allegedly taken became a subject of intense interest for UFO researchers and enthusiasts. The rural setting, with its open fields and distant tree lines, provided an ideal backdrop for observing aerial phenomena. Local residents in the area reported increased UFO sighting activity in the months leading up to the photograph's appearance, with several witnesses describing objects matching the general spherical shape depicted in the famous image. Wang Li, a local farmer whose property borders the area where the photograph was reportedly taken, confirmed unusual aerial activity in recent months. "We've seen strange lights and objects several times, always during daylight hours when visibility was good," he told investigators. "They would appear suddenly, hover for a few minutes, then disappear just as quickly. The objects were always at a distance, but they definitely weren't normal aircraft. The shape and the way they moved was completely different from anything we'd seen before." The timing of the photograph's release proved significant in the context of subsequent events. Its appearance on social media platforms generated intense discussion and analysis within UFO research communities worldwide, priming public attention for aerial anomalies just months before the dramatic Shandong Interception would occur. Many researchers now believe the spiked sphere photograph and the September incident may be connected, possibly representing different encounters with the same type of advanced craft or technology. International UFO research organizations quickly elevated the spiked sphere photograph to the status of one of the most important pieces of visual evidence ever documented. The Mutual UFO Network, the Center for UFO Studies, and similar organizations launched comprehensive investigations into the image's authenticity and the circumstances surrounding its capture. Their preliminary findings supported the photograph's genuineness while acknowledging the extraordinary implications of what it appeared to show. The craft's design elements became subjects of intense theoretical analysis among physicists and engineers worldwide. The spike configuration suggested possible applications in exotic propulsion systems, perhaps utilizing electromagnetic field modulation or quantum mechanical effects unknown to current technology. Some researchers proposed that the spikes might function as field generators, creating localized distortions in space-time that would allow the craft to achieve the impossible hovering stability observed in the photograph. Government response to the photograph's circulation was notably restrained, with official spokespeople generally declining to comment on its authenticity or significance. This silence contrasted sharply with typical government reactions to UFO claims, which usually involved quick dismissals or conventional explanations. The lack of official debunking attempts led many observers to speculate that authorities were taking the image more seriously than they were publicly acknowledging. The photograph's influence extended beyond the UFO research community, inspiring aerospace engineers and theoretical physicists to reconsider fundamental assumptions about flight technology and propulsion systems. Several research teams began exploring whether the spike configuration might represent a previously unknown approach to controlled flight, potentially leading to breakthrough advances in human aviation technology if the underlying principles could be understood and replicated. As the months passed following the photograph's initial appearance, additional witnesses began coming forward with similar sightings of spiked spherical craft in various locations across China and beyond. These corroborating reports lent additional credibility to the original image, while suggesting that encounters with such objects might be more common than previously believed. The luminous fireball that streaked across eastern China's night sky on September 12, 2025, represented far more than a single extraordinary event. It marked the culmination of a series of mysterious atmospheric phenomena that had been building in intensity throughout the region for several weeks. What witnesses initially dismissed as an unusually bright meteor quickly revealed itself to be something far more complex and potentially significant, challenging conventional understanding of both natural and artificial aerial phenomena. The first reports of unusual fireball activity began appearing in early August 2025, when astronomers at the Purple Mountain Observatory in Nanjing noted an unprecedented increase in luminous atmospheric events across eastern China. Unlike typical meteor showers or isolated fireball sightings, these phenomena displayed characteristics that defied easy categorization within known astronomical events. The objects moved with controlled precision, maintained consistent luminosity throughout their visible trajectories, and appeared to respond to external stimuli in ways that suggested intelligent guidance rather than natural gravitational influences. Dr. Liu Minghua, the observatory's chief researcher on atmospheric phenomena, documented over 30 separate fireball incidents between August 15th and September 10th, each displaying similar anomalous characteristics. These are not behaving like conventional meteors, he noted in his research logs. The trajectory consistency, the uniform luminosity, and the apparent ability to change direction mid-flight all suggest we're dealing with something unprecedented in our observational records. The September 12 event began at approximately 8:47 p.m., when residents across multiple provinces simultaneously observed a brilliant point of light rising from the southeastern horizon. Unlike the Shandong Interception that would occur later that evening, this initial fireball appeared to originate from somewhere beyond the visible horizon, suggesting either an extremely high-altitude launch point or an origin from outside Earth's immediate atmospheric envelope. Witnesses described the object as initially appearing similar to a very bright star or planet, but its rapid movement and increasing luminosity quickly distinguished it from any celestial body. The fireball maintained a steady course across the sky, following what astronomers calculated to be a precisely plotted trajectory that would bring it directly over the most populated regions of Shandong province. This calculated path suggested deliberate navigation rather than the chaotic orbital mechanics typical of natural space debris. As the object progressed across the sky, its luminosity began to fluctuate in patterns that some observers described as resembling communication signals. The rhythmic brightening and dimming followed what appeared to be a structured sequence, leading several amateur radio operators in the region to monitor electromagnetic frequencies for possible associated transmissions. While no clear signals were detected, several operators reported unusual interference patterns that coincided with the visual brightness variations. The fireball's composition appeared fundamentally different from typical meteoric material. Spectroscopic analysis conducted by ground-based observers using portable equipment revealed emission lines that did not match any known terrestrial or extraterrestrial materials in astronomical databases. The spectrum suggested a complex metallic composition with trace elements that defied identification using standard analytical techniques. This unusual spectral signature became a crucial piece of evidence supporting theories that the object represented advanced technology rather than natural phenomena. At 9:15 p.m., approximately 28 minutes into its visible trajectory, the fireball began exhibiting behavior that conclusively distinguished it from any natural phenomena. Witnesses across a wide geographic area reported observing the object execute a series of controlled maneuvers, including sudden changes in direction, acceleration and deceleration phases, and what appeared to be intentional positioning adjustments. These movements demonstrated a level of control and intelligence that eliminated any possibility of natural origin. The most dramatic phase of the encounter began when the fireball positioned itself directly over the rural areas surrounding Weifang, maintaining a stationary hover at an estimated altitude of 8,000 feet. This hovering behavior lasted approximately 3 minutes, during which the object's luminosity increased dramatically, creating a second sun effect that illuminated the landscape below with brilliant artificial daylight. Agricultural workers in the fields reported that the light was bright enough to read by, yet somehow did not cause the eye strain or discomfort typically associated with extremely bright artificial illumination. During this hovering phase, the object began emitting what witnesses described as a low-frequency humming sound that seemed to resonate through the ground as much as through the air. This acoustic emission was felt as much as heard, creating subtle vibrations that caused livestock to become agitated and electronic devices to experience temporary interference. The sound was unlike anything associated with conventional aircraft, describing it more as a fundamental harmonic frequency that seemed to interact with the molecular structure of the surrounding environment. The fireball's interaction with local electromagnetic systems provided additional evidence of its technological nature. Power grid fluctuations were recorded across multiple municipalities during the hovering phase, with voltage irregularities following patterns that suggested intentional scanning or analysis rather than random interference. Cell phone networks experienced temporary disruptions, though service was restored immediately after the object departed. Most intriguingly, several GPS systems in the area reported positioning errors during the encounter, with some devices showing impossible coordinates or complete signal loss. As the object resumed its trajectory following the hovering phase, its behavior became increasingly erratic and ultimately tragic. Multiple witnesses reported seeing what appeared to be a second luminous object approaching from the northwest, moving with the characteristic high-speed trajectory of a military interceptor missile. The convergence of these two objects resulted in the spectacular explosion that would become the focus of international attention and speculation. The debris pattern following the fireball's destruction provided crucial evidence about its construction and purpose. Unlike typical satellite or aircraft crashes, where debris fields followed predictable ballistic trajectories, the fireball's remains scattered in patterns that suggested controlled fragmentation. Several pieces of debris appeared to execute powered flight, even after separation from the main craft, maintaining luminous trails and controlled descent paths that terminated in precisely targeted impact zones. Recovery efforts in the hours following the incident were swift and comprehensive, with military units arriving at crash sites within minutes of impact. Witnesses reported seeing specialized recovery teams using equipment unlike standard emergency response gear, including devices that appeared designed for handling radioactive or electromagnetically active materials. The speed and efficiency of these recovery operations suggested prior planning and preparation, as if authorities had been anticipating such an event. The electromagnetic signatures detected during the fireball's approach and destruction provided perhaps the most significant scientific data about its nature. Radio telescopes in the region recorded complex electromagnetic emissions that continued for several hours after the visible destruction, suggesting that the object's technology included self-preservation or communication protocols that remained active even after catastrophic damage. These signals followed mathematical patterns that indicated artificial origin and purposeful design, though their specific meaning remained beyond current decoding capabilities. Analysis of atmospheric disturbances caused by the fireball's passage revealed additional anomalous characteristics. Weather monitoring stations recorded localized atmospheric pressure variations, temperature fluctuations, and humidity changes that followed the object's path with precise timing. These environmental effects suggested that the craft's propulsion system interacted with atmospheric gases in ways that current aerospace technology cannot achieve, possibly involving direct molecular manipulation or exotic energy field effects. The fireball phenomenon represented a watershed moment in the public understanding of aerial anomalies, providing multiple independent data sources that collectively painted a picture of technology far advanced beyond current human capabilities. The combination of visual documentation